Hey everybody, welcome back to the conclusion of Outpost 13. I am doing this video just because I wanted to give a bit of closure to some of you guys that have been actually watching the series, I guess if you could call it even that right now at this point, and want to see how the end game actually works out, which is kind of a bit of a shot in the dark, honestly. There's a lot about this game that I need to talk about right now, which I'm not really too content about, which is something I don't normally do. But the reason why I'm doing this is because this game wasn't necessarily sold as an early access, hey, test out the bugs for me type of game. To my knowledge, and the description kind of stated that this was going to be Act 1. Now, it should be noted that when the description came out, by the way, there's a few updates that have happened, a lot of bug fixes, and let me tell you, there's still a lot of bugs hanging around. But now you don't really walk at a snail pace anymore, you can actually hit shift and you will rush forward, which is a really good thing to see, honestly. But the game in the description was actually sold. The premise was amazing to the game itself. Like, it was like, you know, essentially almost like playing The Thing by John Carpenter for sure. But the premise was actually really interesting. Now, before the game actually released, there was going to be character progression, things of that nature. The developer kind of wiped out the whole character progression right before the game released itself. So essentially what you have now is almost a shell of a game where all you're doing really is just going from one place to another and clicking stuff and hoping for the best to actually happen. And if you don't have any character progression, like there's no like story to every character other than maybe Fenrir and maybe even the demon god, whatever the hell is in him. Other than that, there's really no progression anywhere else, and it just turns around into like a clicking around game and hoping for the best over here. So if you remove the character progression from an adventure game, a point-and-click adventure game, there's really no, I guess, soul behind the game whatsoever. So, I mean, I'm pretty sure the developer said he was going to probably add those things later, but the fact that it was sold as Act 1... Let me come in here really quick. I'm going to show you exactly what happened last time around too. I was done, but apparently I wasn't. Let me tamper with this here really quickly. I'm going to come over here and tamper with this now. Now, I believe the combination is going to be boom, boom, and boom. I apparently got the wrong combination the first time around. So what happened was we were stuck, like literally stuck in the game. Like I could not progress. I would have to start all over again because of an error. So the game essentially locks you out of different things, assuming you go about it the wrong way because of the bugs that the game still has, a lot of them, and there's still people on the Steam forums complaining about a bunch of the bugs too, which is really unfortunate. So right now, I apparently got the right mixture, finally. So what's supposed to happen is she's supposed to blow up that way and kill the other guy. Remember on the second episode, I do believe I just knocked her out unconscious and I killed the other guy? So there's only one way to complete a puzzle. There's like not multiple ways to kill people. Like if the way I went about it was killing, let me pick up this creature over here, which we do need anyway. I knocked her out, right? And then I killed this guy, so it was kind of cool. It was kind of like, okay, well, you know, if I didn't go about it this method here, the other method was, you know, knocking her out and then killing the guy over here. But if you do it that method, you're stuck. You have to start all over again because there's no more progression, because there's still somebody alive. Remember, if we peeked at the nighttime in her room, she was still hanging out, and I was like, well, if she's still hanging out, how do I, you know, get her? So, and you couldn't. That's the problem. You just couldn't get her. So the game kind of sees it. And here's the other problem. Oh, I forgot about this now. So essentially, even if you know the puzzles, you have to trigger certain things, right? But essentially now I messed up because I have not triggered the nighttime portion where you're supposed to find out that she's scared of the creature. And that's okay, I understand that part, like, you know, if you have to trigger something to progress a certain thing. But when the game right now is just so devoid of, like, actual character, like, you know, content and stuff like that, it's just really more of a nuisance. But the reason why I'm coming back to this is I at least wanted to give you guys a little bit of closure here. So let me enter the vent. As you can see now, the robot is no longer here. Another thing that was actually kind of another bug is that you should be able to see the woman in the cafe over here sleeping, and the robot dude was hanging out over here. So that's something that we were also kind of bugged on, but now it does show up, assuming, you know, you hadn't killed them already or frozen, whatever the hell I did. So this right here would be the puzzle itself. Let's go over here. This woman is now not here. I just need to figure out that this lady is scared of the creatures here, which should happen at some point, I imagine, hopefully. I wouldn't be surprised, honestly, if she does not give me the nightmare option now, because I picked up the creature beforehand. I'm almost getting the sneaking suspicion that's what's happening over here. Let me move to another room. Come on. We're not getting the prompt anymore. This is comical. This is just goddamn comical. Essentially, she's supposed to do the whole, oh no, get that furry creature away from me or whatever. If I don't get that, we can trigger the letting the monster, this little guy over here, loose in that room, which would trigger the events to complete that room. Here we go, okay. So I guess it just happens at particular hours, maybe? I don't know. I don't even know. Keep the little monster away from me, and then Fenrir, or this monster's gonna be like, oh, interesting. And that's your cue as to, you know, hey, you've progressed it. But it's just so based on variables right now. Like, it's just like a complete shot in the dark. So there's no, like, you know, hints. Like, essentially, this monster dude tells you about a hint after you've triggered it. It's like no beforehand thought where it's like, oh, hey, maybe this is something you should be focusing on. It's just like after you trigger, it's like, oh, hey, by the way, now that you figured out how to kill her, this is how you kill her. And you're like, oh, okay, well, thanks a lot. You know, god-hungry dude killing people left and right. So now we can come over here to the medical bay, and let's see here. We can release the monster now, as you can see. So we'll come over here, we'll release the monster. As soon as she freaks out, we come over here and we swap the medications. We're now done. So there you go. Essentially, the last episode should have been the last one. We should have triggered the end scene, but the reason why we didn't is because I didn't kill the people in the science lab the proper way. And at that point, we were stuck. It was like, okay, well, you killed them, but you just didn't do it the way we wanted to, so, you know, you're stuck. You have to start all over. There's no way of resetting the option. There's no, like, wall that says, hey, you can't do it this way or else you're, you know, screwed. So now our medical's completed. We should be done, and we should be able to trigger the end scene now. Hopefully. I'm being really hopeful here. Okay, I'm gonna walk around. I know I've triggered it before already. Essentially, there's supposed to be somebody calling out for you, which should be the red-headed lady, your owner in a sense. There you go, Fenrir. Alright, so we did trigger the last scene, so we'll at least be able to see that, hopefully, and after this, we're wrapping it up here. I'm honestly really upset, just because I really had high hopes for the game, and I feel that, you know, you're getting a bad deal for now, until, you know, the character progression gets put back in, and all these bugs are cleared up. Like, you know, it's just, you're beta testing in a sense, like alpha testing, really, which is unfortunate, because that's not how the game was actually going to be sold initially. There you are, Fen. Now this guy comes out of nowhere, shoots you, and that's the end of Act 1. So this would not be a problem. I would not have a problem with this being the end of Act 1. This is Agent Jerry Blade, Station Echo Alpha 87, whatever. Confirmed Echo Alpha 67, November Yankee, go ahead. I'll tell you my thoughts here pretty soon. I already kind of mentioned them, but... Experiment Alpha 87 X-ray is blue. I say again, Alpha 87 X-ray is blue. Confirmed. Continue to Bravo 87 X-ray. Roger, Alpha 87 X-ray secured. Name whatever the hell it is. 2 prepping for departure. Outpost resetting. Confirmed. Now the outpost resetting does sound a bit interesting. Like if that leads into something really good for Alpha or Act 2, should be kind of interesting because I have an idea. Like, was that saying like this is an experiment that they're kind of just redoing over and over? I'm not really sure. But there is Outpost 13. Essentially, what I'm upset about is that that was the end of Act 1 with character progression and, like, you know, some sort of remnant of a story. Then that'd be fine. It kind of leaves you on edge and you're thinking, okay, cool, this is pretty awesome. I can't wait for Act 2 to come around. But the way you're kind of built into this mode, it's like just wander around, click on stuff, and hope for the best. And by the way, make sure you don't get caught by a weird bug to have you force you to start from the start again. So there you go, guys. This is Outpost 13. I wanted to give you guys a little bit of the actual ending for this one to give you a bit of closure, but at the same time, I do want to express my my thoughts about the game. And right now, it's unfortunate. It's really terrible because I was really excited about it too. So there you guys go. Hopefully, you guys enjoyed it. Leave a thumbs up, leave a like to support. It's going to be a lot. If there is a proper update to this game that actually gives you the character progression back up, we will definitely come back and revisit it, especially for Act 2. And if assuming the character progression gets inserted back into Act 1, I would not mind going back to that. And hopefully building to a story, because again, the concept is really good. Unfortunately, the execution was just not really up to par. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. Leave a thumbs up. I will catch you next time.